The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates, and by Renewal by Andersen, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source presented by Renewal by Andersen. It is a packed show. Tennessee gets a big win on the road at Memphis yesterday. We've got a ton of recruiting to talk about, a good early signing day or early signing period preview for you, and also the latest on the offensive coordinator search and football. Tons of it. Let's get into it. First segment brought to you by, as I mentioned, Renewal by Andersen. Simply the best windows and patio doors in the United States of America. They will decrease your energy costs and increase the value of your home. They are beautiful and energy efficient. And if you buy one by New Year's Eve, you'll get 30% off another. Go by their showroom this week, folks. See for yourself, or you can call them. You can visit them online, rbaknoxville.com. Any of those work, but I suggest going by their showroom to take a look for yourself. Renewal by Andersen. All right. Want to welcome in wave one of the panel today. We have Mark Pankratz, former member of the Tennessee basketball staff under Conzo Martin and Bruce Pearl. We have Hall of Famer Mike Strange. And we have down there Vince Ferrara joining us from WNML. Thank you for being here, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate all of you. Let's start. Tennessee coming off, as I mentioned, a massive win yesterday. But you look at everything that went into that. They were already coming off a glorious victory over number one Gonzaga. Okay, so you wonder, how does this team handle that mentally? They have a good week of practice, you hear. Then they go out to Memphis, where it's a hostile crowd. First road game of the year and a good test. The other team is fired up as hell to beat you. The refs are so scattershot, 39 free throws for Tennessee, and there were bad calls on both ends of the floor. You don't know what's a foul and what's not. All that said, I never felt that game was really in jeopardy. To me, Mark, hell of a win for Tennessee.
Big time win. You go play a noon game after a rival game, or a big game versus Gonzaga. You're forced into circumstances that you weren't prepared for. You know, you didn't practice a lot of zone defense. You had a lot of foul trouble, and they really never, like you said, got below or back into single digits. You controlled the ball game, didn't play a great game, and that's what really good teams do, is they find a way. And I think there'll be a lot that they can learn from moving into the next steps of the season. Gentlemen?
I've been to several Tennessee-Memphis games in the FedEx Forum. It is a great atmosphere, as hostile as you could imagine as it looks on TV. So that was a big-time response by Tennessee to come out and open, they hit first 6, 7 shots, whatever. And that gave them a little cushion to work with the rest of the game. And I thought all of their main guys contributed yesterday. Jordan Bone, I thought, got off to a pretty slow start. But the last 10 minutes, he was golden.
I thought it reminded me, Vince, of, you've seen it in movies and TV shows, where the bully or the big brother holds the weakling or the little brother by the head, and the little guy is just swinging away and he can't reach him, and you just hold him like that. That's what it looked like. I felt Memphis was the little brother just swinging away. It's like, you can do all you want, you're not getting in this game. Your thoughts on that victory?
Yeah, I think it was another example of how there are many different ways that this Tennessee basketball team can win games. They had to adjust to the fouls and the way the game was being called tight. They had to adjust, obviously, to the arena and all that brought. So, foul trouble hurt them. The zone, as Mark talked about, that is something that they don't do often. And I don't think they did great, but they got through it. But they weren't challenged, and that's what the beauty of this team. They can not play great, yet still win and have the coachable things to come out of the game with.
Let's skip ahead and talk about the zone just for a second. Mark, your feeling, because they went against the zone, so you saw a little bit of their zone offense. They had to play more zone on defense. Your thoughts on both, and which needs more work?
Well, I think both needs a little bit of work, because it's not really what Barnes wants to do, is play a lot of zone. Zone was forced because we were in foul trouble, so we couldn't defend them off the bounce, so otherwise we'd get more fouls. So then we struggled to rebound, gave up 18 offensive rebounds trying to rebound out of that zone. And then our zone offense, one of the positives of it, it forces us to slow down and try to get the ball inside more. But we do a lot of passing around the perimeter. We don't probe it enough. And so I think that's something else that we can work on. But I think the biggest takeaway has been said, we won a basketball game playing a way that we're not comfortable winning. But my thing, even though refs were really bad, we've got to find a way for guys to learn how to play basketball without fouling. Grant Williams, you can't get your 4th foul with 8 minutes left in the second half. Yes, we pulled it out. Admiral stepped up, but guys got to learn from it and get better.
All right, let's take a look quickly at some of the main contributors. Mike Strange mentioned it. Here are your, we're just going to call it top 5. We're adding all of these stats together. It's not a real stat. It's just a way to quantify who the 5 guys that really contributed the most were. Schofield, 29 points yesterday. Huge day again, coming off 30 against Gonzaga. Grant Williams, 19, 4 and 5. Bone, you see the numbers. Kyle Alexander, 10 points, 9 rebounds. Guys, this is kind of an unsung hero. Mark, I know you tweeted about it yesterday, that he doesn't get some of the credit he deserves. We tried to talk about it on the show last year after the loss to Loyola Chicago, that was a big loss, and people were so stunned/angry about the loss, they didn't want to hear it. It's Kyle Alexander. You have Kyle Alexander last year in that game, there's a good chance Tennessee winds up where Loyola did, and that's in the Final Four. His importance to this team, I don't think, can be overstated. I think he's having a really good year, up from last year, but he's kind of the forgotten guy a lot, I think.
Well, he's more consistent this year. I thought last year, as a junior, he really came on, but there were still big games where he just kind of disappeared. And I don't see that happening much this year. I think he's, especially if you're playing where your other big is like 6'7", it's important to have Kyle in there. Even though he got into some foul trouble in the Gonzaga game, his minutes in there, 20-plus minutes, they were very useful and needed. And Rick Barnes even pointed that out. So he's that eraser. Mark also mentioned getting beat off the dribble. They've given that up on a regular basis, the dribble drive on the perimeter. He's there as the cleanup guy, the eraser, the fix-it guy. And he's just got different length and athleticism than anybody else on the roster.
Yeah, his stats are doubled everywhere. He's averaging almost 10 points a game. Last year was around 5.5. Almost 10 rebounds. Last year was around 5.5. He's going to be a top 10 shot blocker in Tennessee basketball history. You know, plus what he does on the perimeter in ball screen coverage. He's paramount to Tennessee's success.
All right. Very good, guys. I appreciate it. We actually got through that segment on time. That's a rarity. I like that. Later on, we got more basketball, a lot more basketball to talk about, but later on we got a big preview of UT's early signing period. We got 2 segments on that. Next, however, the latest on the offensive coordinator search. Is it a bad sign that this thing has taken so long and is going to stretch past the early signing period? We'll discuss. Come on back on The Sports Source.